You hear the screeching of an owl, you hear the wind begin to howl. You know there's zombies on the prowl, and it's terror time again. They've got you running through the night. It's terror time again, and you just might die of fright. It's a terrifying time.
Don't change that channel. Your eyes and ears are not deceiving you. It's time for another episode of the Mod Guide. This time we're doing a SoulFilcher special, as Old Soul has brought us plenty of mods that range from home improvement, becoming a blacksmith to butcher your zombie foes, some nice ways to kick back and relax, and more. There's a lot of real good stuff to look at overall, though I'll be putting today's focus on building, foraging, and farming related mods. And before we begin, I'd like to give a shout out to Kato for her lovely artwork. Fantastic as usual. And I'd also like to ask you for your support with a like if you enjoy the video and sub for more videos like this. Before I begin, I'd also like to note that many of the mods are either partially or not compatible with multiplayer at the time of making this video, so be sure to check each mod's page and the comments for them before you install these on a server. Now let's dive right in with building time, shall we? Are you looking for even more building options for your base? Are you tired of that traditional wood or metal ramshackle shack in the middle of the woods? Well, thanks to SoulFilcher, we've got the Building Time mod. This bad boy introduced an entirely new skill that lets you craft stone and brick-based builds, as well as a few other quality of life improvements up his sleeves. Let's start with the meat of this mod, that being the brand new masonry skill. To get started with this mod, you're gonna need to find the masonry magazine. With this, we could get started with making bricks, the mold for said bricks, and a kiln to fire it all in, as well as brick and concrete structures. One thing I do like is this mod finally adds a use for concrete as well, and it actually causes concrete to spawn quite plentiful. The final tool you're gonna need to locate is a mason's trowel, and all the components for this mod can be found in hardware and warehouse spawn points, outside the literature which will spawn in the usual places, bookcases, schools, and the like. So be sure to search those out if you need them. Speaking of literature, there's also 5 skill books for the masonry skill, as well as a metalworking volume 5 we'll discuss more later. Starting early, you're only going to have access to making concrete floors, so I recommend that you focus on that with the beginner's book. Once you get a level in, you can make one of 4 various tombstones, so that's a fun diversion, especially if you die a lot and you want to keep burying your characters with different headstones. Once you're at level 2, you can make brick walls, fences, door frames, and window frames. And the final thing the masonry skill at level 4 will let you do is craft a kiln. Once you have this kiln, you can craft your own bricks from clay, which is found in hardware within bags, and each bag will let you make 4 bricks. But to make a brick, you're going to need a carpentry level of 2, which will let you craft using a plank, 1 nail, a saw, and a hammer to make a brick mold. Press your clay in there and boom, you've got a molded brick. Now to use these, you're going to need 3 bricks and 4 units of concrete to craft the brick kiln. Once your kiln's crafted, you're going to need to fill it with charcoal, as this is the only fuel source it will accept. Once it's fueled, add 5 molded bricks to the kiln, then light it with a lighter and whatever kindling that you prefer. Once it's lit, it will take several hours to days to bake. Just keep an eye on the fuel and the progress gauge, and boom, you'll have bricks ready to go for your home building needs. But don't think this is where the mod ends, no sir, because if you thought the brick mold was the only benefit for carpentry, then you better think again. Because there's now a recipe to craft the fruit and veggie display stands. You just gotta have a level 3 carpentry, have 3 planks in your inventory, and 3 nails. And boom, you're ready to go. And at level 7, you can make 15 different colored crates. Are you tired of that plain old brown crate? Then use one of these. All you need is a bucket of paint of your choice, a paintbrush, 3 planks, and 3 nails, and boom, you've got a nicely colored crate. Are you tired of carpentry getting all the glory? Well, fret not, for metalworking has a few new tricks up its sleeve too. You just either gotta find a metalworking volume 5 or start with the metalworker profession, and now you'll be able to, at level 2 metalworking, make a metal door frame. It'll cost you 8 units of propane, 4 units of welding rods, and 3 metal sheets. And don't forget to wear your welding mask as well. You want to go up and down your base but you like a more industrial style? Well, at level 6 metalworker you can craft metal stairs. This will require your mask, 8 metal pipes, 6 small metal sheets, and 4 scrap metal. But this mod is the gift that keeps on giving. Cause are you tired of zombies smashing down your doors, windows, and walls? Well, now you can repair them using some of the original materials used to make them, instead of making new ones from scratch. And the final surprise of this mod? Hand trucks or dollies, whatever you prefer to call them. These puppies allow you to carry an extra 50 pounds of inventory with an 80% weight reduction. But keep in mind that it does cause both of your hands to be full to carry it. So now you're defenseless. You can't even shove zombies away from you. And while I think it's currently bugged, it's supposed to cause you not to be able to jump through windows or over fences, or go up sheet ropes. But I was able to do many of these things with the hand truck equipped. Overall though, I enjoyed the mod once I worked through some of the quirks and hiccups and got it working. Are you one to forge your own destiny? You desire to craft your own weapons, or just make those pesky tools you just can't seem to find, even though they should be stupidly common, like say scissors? Then let's take a look at the Blacksmith mod. This mod adds another new profession to the game, that being smithing. And it even adds a new profession called smither. Let's hope we don't have to work for Mr. Burns though. Honestly, if you plan to use this mod, I highly recommend you take the profession. It's going to save us a little hassle and time down the road, as it reduces the amount of magazines you have to find. Just a little bit, but it's still nice. Because without it, you have to find 8 magazines just to get all the recipes, plus 5 skill books to level up. So with the profession, you save 1.5 skill books, as well as 2 magazines, including the one you'd need to find to even start to utilize the skill. This may not seem like a lot, but given there's a lot of competition for books spawning in the game already, you're gonna have to get real lucky if you want to find them all and fully utilize the skill. Still, once you've got everything this mod needs, it does open a lot of possibilities up to you, as well as letting you make some various junk flavor items. First, we're gonna have to make ourselves a stone furnace. If you want to do that, you're gonna have to locate the Smither's Backyard magazine, which lets us craft the furnace and anvil. Or you can have it via the Smither profession. Once you have the knowledge, it's time to start forging the woods and the roads for the stone. You're gonna need 8 cobblestone. Wait, that's the wrong game. We're actually gonna need 15 stones. And once you have this magic number of rocks, you build that son of a bitch. From here, we're gonna need 4 ingredients and tools. We're gonna need charcoal. This is the fuel for melting things into workable iron. Smithing tongs are gonna be needed to handle the metal. Bellows to fan the flames. So search hardware loot points to get a hold of these tools, like McCoy's and the warehouses. Once you have these things, you're gonna need workable iron to get to the next step of the process. So gather up any spare metal things you don't need, stuff like spoons, forks, butter knives, spare cooking pots, and more. And we're gonna add it to the forge like it's an oven. Fill the forge with charcoal, light it with a lighter and some kindling, then it's time to fan the flames. We're raising an army. Use the bellows to raise the heat within the forge, and shortly all the metal will melt down into workable iron. Once we have our 5 pieces, get a hammer and combine the iron with a log, and we've got our anvil. Now then, the world is our oyster and we're free to make a huge variety of things, provided that you can find the magazines to do so. Keep in mind there is dozens of recipes, so I'm not going to go ahead and list all of them. But not all that you could craft requires workable iron. Say a crowbar requires metal bars to forge in the shape. If you can get this mod running full steam, you've got a fantastic way to recycle and reuse the world around you. One last thing I'd like to mention about this mod, it also adds a new use for metal barrels. You can convert barrels you find around the world into the metal barrels you find at the checkpoint in Louisville, which one can be used to hold more rain than other rain sources, but if you also stick 5 logs inside of it and light it, it'll burn into 2 bags of charcoal, just ready for you to use for more metalworking. And if you can't find a drum, there's also a recipe in-game for making them out of workable iron. You just gotta find that instead. Overall, I'm a fan of this mod and the options it opens up for you. There's a lot of good stuff here, Soul. Do you want even more forging options available? Or have you ever wanted to be a hobo? Well, if you answered yes to either one of these questions, then the Foraging Time mod is for you. Before we begin, this one is however compatible with multiplayer at the time of making this video. Now this mod does two things. It adds a new profession called Homeless, which comes with a bonus of 3 foraging and a unique trait called Scavenger, which causes weather to have less of an effect on foraging and also gives you a higher detection range on foraging. The other thing this mod does is add 9 new items, 10 if you count the different cigarette to the foraging pool, as well as adding other vanilla items you would not normally be able to find into the foraging pool. Overall, it's a surprisingly simple and straightforward mod. Do you wish there were more crops to enjoy and consume? Well, if that's the case, then let's take a look at the Farming Time mod. This mod adds 6 new crops to the game that expand your culinary enjoyment for sure. Now we can farm corn, lettuce, beets, wheat, lemongrass, and cauliflower. And each crop, like vanilla crops, have their own required times to grow and harvest and such, but what the mod description doesn't tell you is that there's more you can do with this mod. 1. Wheat and lemongrass are added to the foraging pool. 2. Corn seeds can be ground into corn flour using either a pestle and mortar, or if you could find one, a grain grinder. The difference is the grain grinder is faster. 3. There is 2 new farming magazines that add new recipes such as the corn flour, and the fact you can refine the beets via cooking them into a pot, and once they're cooked, you can use a ripped sheet to make it into beet syrup, and then that can be used to get sugar. You can thresh harvested corn and wheat for seeds, which is nice. Wheat seeds can also be ground into flour if you have 200 of them, which you get a lot of whenever you thresh the harvested wheat. And speaking of wheat, this is the only crop of the 6 that is particular about its water levels. So don't let it get overwatered or it may fight you on growing. This is another mod I enjoy, and it's always nice to see farming get expanded upon, as there's a lot more things you could really realistically grow in Kentucky. Honestly, Soul is a pretty talented dude. I mean, he's put out well over a dozen mods for this game, and there's a lot here to enjoy. Hell, these 4 mods alone are good, with 2 of them being quite massive additions to the game. I really do like the blacksmithing mod a lot myself, as it lets you reuse the world around you and make up for what you can't find. And building time is quite nice for giving you more options for building, especially if you like the concrete and brick look. I'll definitely cover more Souls mods in the future, as there's enough to bundle for another special or 2. So be sure to keep an eye out for those coming soon. One last thing I'd like to mention is I love all the cute spiffos that are used for the thumbnails. They're absolute gold. But for now, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Once again, I'd like to give a shout out to my artist Kato, as well as all of y'all for the support. But most importantly of all, I'd like to thank all of the members of the channel who choose to support the channel financially and keep me able to provide you with more content. If you'd like to have your name on the screen, then please consider becoming a member today. This has been Core, and I'll see you next time.